once again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the final game, the game we've all been waiting for, the National Series of Reach for the Top. I'm Hans Budgie, your host and quizmaster, and today we're going to see two fine teams, both of whom are from Ontario. And they've probably seen quite a bit of one another lately. They've competed in the Ontario Provincial Championships, they've competed in the preliminary tournament here at the Nationals, and they're going to be contesting the national final game to decide the bragging rights and to settle their three-game series, in fact. And let's introduce the two teams that are going to be playing in this national final game. First of all, from Kingston Collegiate and Vocational Institute, Kingston, Ontario, we have Kevin O'Connor, Jane McGaughey, Andrew Drummond, and Rory McEwen. Their alternates not playing today are William Morgan and Louis Mastorakos. Their coaches are Jennifer Bailey and Neil Payne. And the team from Gloucester High School in Gloucester, Ontario, we have Manyi Sun, Vivek Krishnamurthy, Jonathan Richardson, and William Godso. Their alternates are Rob Kane and Alex McKenzie, and their coach is Kelly Oka. And let's not waste any further time. Let's get right to some short snappers. Teams, each of these are 10 points. Let's start off with this one. Who is the first woman to hold the position of usher? Go ahead, Vivek.
John Survey.
Usher of the Canadian Senate. Offered to Ontario 2. Try it, Andrew.
Murphy.
Mary McLaren is the name I had to have for that one. Which British explorer was killed in Hawaii? And go ahead, Jonathan.
Drake.
It wasn't, in 1779.
Cook.
Who is that, Jane?
Cook.
James Cook gets us started with 10 points. John Travolta is a spokesman for which religious? Go ahead, Kevin.
Scientologist.
Church of Scientology. Will accept that for 10 points. And according to mythology, Cadmus sowed dragon's teeth in the ground. What did they... Go ahead, Manyi.
Warriors?
Yes, armed warriors who killed each other off. That's what they grew up as. And we're moving to an open question very quickly on alphabetic music trivia. The following answers are in alphabetical order. Keep that in mind. And they are in succession. This song is one of the most famous of Van Halen. Try it, Kevin. Not there. We'll have to offer it to Ontario 1. Anybody have a guess? Try it, Jonathan.
Ain't Nothing About Love.
Actually, we're starting with the letter J, and it's Jump that we're looking at here. We've got some questions that are all in alphabetical order for their answers. One of the songs to grace the Pulp Fiction soundtrack. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Miserloo.
No, the soundtrack Jungle Boogie was sung by this group. Offered to Ontario 2. What's the group we're looking for? Try it, Andrew.
Pink Floyd.
You said?
Pink Floyd.
No, we're looking for Kool and the Gang. So we've gone J, we've gone K, and I want you to tell me that many men became jealous when he married Julia Roberts. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Lyle Lovett.
You just got Lyle Lovett in there. The double L was the giveaway there. Alphabetically, Lyle Lovett gets you 10 points on that one. Open now on 30 points. Women in the 20th century. That's our topic. A founder of the Toronto Women's Suffrage Association. She was also Canada's first female doctor. Go ahead, Kevin.
Stowe.
Emily Howard Stowe, correct for 10 points. Prime Minister Borden extended the vote to certain categories. Go ahead, Andrew.
McClung.
No, to certain categories of women in 1917. What wartime policy was dictated by this action?
Conscription.
Offer to Vivek.
Conscription.
Yes, military conscription is correct for 10 points. Who was the author of the 1963 bestseller, The Feminine Go ahead, Vivek.
Germaine Greer?
No, The Feminine Mystique. Ontario 2, you get a try for that one. Anybody have a guess? Andrew?
Stein?
Betty Friedan is the answer on that one. First scramble of the game. Let's see how we do with the scramble question. If you get it, your team gets the second parts. For 10 points, last year's sci-fi movie Contact was based on a book. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Carl Sagan.
Carl Sagan, that's exactly the answer we need. He died in 1996, and that means Ontario 1 gets the second parts dealing with Sagan's career. Sagan was a noted astronomer and cosmologist. However, he was best known as an educator. What 1979 television series, written, produced, and hosted by Sagan, brought him international fame? What was that called? Anybody have a guess? Vivek?
Mysteries of the Universe?
It was called Cosmos, very simply called Cosmos. Sagan received many awards and honors for his educational efforts. In 1978, he was awarded what American literary prize for his book, The Dragons of Eden? Vivek?
The Pulitzer Prize?
He won a Pulitzer Prize, correct for 10 on that one. And at what university located in Ithaca, New York, did Sagan teach? Vivek?
Cornell.
Cornell gets you the final 10 points on that question. Let's go to an open question now. Both Ontario teams are in it. Canadian politics is our topic. Who was re-elected to a second term as Speaker of the House of... Go ahead, Vivek.
Gilbert Parent.
No, as Speaker of the House of Commons in the fall 1997 session of Parliament. Offer to the other team for a try.
No, it's not Parent.
The answer, Andrew?
Nunziata.
Is Guy Parent. Guy Parent on that one. Who delivered the throne speech in the Senate last year? Go ahead, Andrew.
LeBlanc.
Romeo LeBlanc gets you to 10 points there. How many official parties are represented? Go ahead, Vivek.
5.
5 of them are represented by the present Parliament. Correct for 10 on that one. Let's try a geography question now, teams. I want you first of all to tell me which 2 Caribbean countries share an island. Go ahead, Vivek.
The Dominican Republic and Haiti.
You've got both of them. They share an island. Correct. Name the mountain range that is the accepted divider between geographical Europe and... Go ahead, Vivek. Not
The
there,
Urals.
between geographical Europe and Asia. Go ahead, Rory.
The Ural Mountains.
You said?
Ural.
Yes, the Urals or the Urals is correct. And of Lebanon, Serbia, and Iraq, which has no Mediterranean... Go ahead, Vivek.
Serbia.
Not correct. Which has no Mediterranean coast? Kevin.
Iraq.
Iraq is correct. Which South American country has the largest population of... Go ahead, Jonathan.
Brazil.
No, its largest population of Aboriginal people. As a hint, this country has a Pacific coastline. For the other teams for a try. Jane.
Chile?
The answer is Peru that we're looking for on that question. Well, we've come to a music selection, teams, and you're going to hear a musical selection, some classical music this time. And once I start reading a clue, then you can start to buzz in and give your answer. So the first selection is coming up now. Which solo brass... Go ahead, Magny.
French horn?
That is a French horn. That's a solo brass instrument heard in this concerto. And the piece is the Horn Concerto No. 4. Go ahead, Andrew.
Haydn.
No, written by which 18th century musical genius? Try it, Magny.
Mozart.
Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart gets you the second 10 points on that question. You're going to hear another selection coming up now, teams. And after you've heard the selection, I start reading my clue. You may buzz in with an answer. Second selection coming up now. Which solo string instrument? Go ahead, Vivek.
Violin.
That is a violin. That's right. That's what you're listening to in that Dvorak concerto. And the second question, Dvorak was an accomplished string player working for a time in the National Theatre Orchestra in... Go ahead, Kevin.
Czechoslovakia.
The National Theatre Orchestra in Prague. Which string instrument did he play? That's the question we have here. Ontario, Vivek?
Viola.
He did indeed play the viola, so you get 10 points on that. And very quickly, we've come to the end of our first round, but before we get to that, we have some short snappers. 4 of them for 10 points apiece. Try this first one, teams. Who wrote the lyrics to the best-selling song in memory of the princess? Go ahead, Kevin.
Taupin.
Bernie Taupin, you've got 10 for that. What term refers to the end of the world in Nordic? Go ahead, Vivek.
Valhalla.
End of the world in Nordic mythology. I'm going to Ontario for that. Rory?
Ragnarok.
No, Götterdämmerung is the name, the twilight of the gods. He lives in a 1,700-room palace, is worth an estimated $52 billion, and his petroleum-rich country... Go ahead, Vivek.
The Sultan of Brunei.
You've got it exactly. That is his general titled name, the Sultan of Brunei. And what is the former name of New York... Go ahead, Vivek. Not there. Former name of New York City, offered for the other team for a try. Try it, Andrew.
New Amsterdam.
New Amsterdam is the answer that we need. And with that short snapper, we've finished round number 1, and we're going to come back with a score check after this brief pause on the national final game of Reach for the Top. Hello, we're back with round number 2. Before we get to the questions and the answers, we have 2 challenges that have to be dealt with. The judge has conferred with the team captains, and an answer given by the Ontario 2 team regarding the end of the world according to Nordic mythology. The answer given, Ragnarok, is indeed correct. 10 points added to make the Ontario score go from 80 to 90. Plus the Gilbert Perrin and Guy Perrin question. In fact, the answer given was correct for the Ontario 1 team, and their score goes up to 140. So both teams managing to pick up an additional 10 points, and we're going to start off round number 2 with an open question on transportation. So ready with your buzzers here. First of all, what was Air Canada's name before? Go ahead, Vivek.
TransCanada Airlines.
It was called TransCanada Airlines. Good for 10. What is the roadway connecting Dawson City? Try it, Vivek.
The Alaska Highway.
Connecting Dawson City and Inuvik, the only public road in North America that crosses the Arctic Circle, offered to Ontario 2. Jane?
Mackenzie Highway?
It's called the Dempster Highway, and launched by a Quebec City-based company. What was the first vessel? Go ahead, Kevin.
Oh, sorry. Alouette.
The first vessel to cross the Atlantic under the power of steam. What would that be? Vivek?
The Great Eastern.
It was called the Royal William on that question. And we're going to start with some assigned questions here. Both teams, there's no buzzers required on these. What we're going to do is Kevin from the Kingston team is going to get the first opportunity, and Man Yi has to be ready in case it's missed. And I want you to translate the following Latin phrases into English. And during these nationals, I've had French, I've had Japanese, and it's only fitting that I'll end up with some Latin. So for you, Kevin, I want you to translate antebellum.
Before the war.
Before the war, exactly correct, for the 10 points on that one. Moving to Jane now. Yours is semper fidelis.
Always loyal?
Judge, we'll accept that. Ever faithful, always loyal. We have 10 points given for that answer. Prima facie. Andrew?
First man.
No, that's not it. I'll offer it to Jonathan.
First year.
No, it's actually at first sight, or from the outside or on the outside. And we go to Rory on this one. Per diem.
Through the day.
Judge. Will not accept it. William.
Every day.
It's, Judge? By the day, or per day that we must have on that. So no points awarded for the final question there. Man Yi, this is your question. And of course, Kevin, you have to be ready on this. Your phrase is caveat emptor.
Let the buyer beware?
Let the buyer beware. You've got 10 for that. For you, Vivek, carpe diem.
Seize the day.
Seize the day. Another 10 points on that. And moving to Jonathan, in loco parentis.
In the care of your parents.
I don't think I can accept that, Judge. No, we have to move to Andrew.
In the line of your parents?
Could you say that again?
In the line of your parents?
In the line of your parents? I don't believe that's acceptable either. In the place of a parent. In other words, acting in place of a parent. Or it could mean loco parentis, driving your parents crazy if you wanted to give a joke definition of it. Finally, we go to William here. E pluribus unum. Translate that.
All to one.
Judge? Won't accept it. Offer to Rory.
Out of many, one.
Yes, out of many, one, or out of many, united. We move now to an open question. Back with your buzzers again. Irish history is your topic here. I want you to tell me, first of all, for 10, what was the name of the elite soldier police whom the English sent to deal with the violence of the Anglo-Irish Independence War between 1919 and 1921? What were they called? Anybody have a guess? Vivek?
The Bobbies.
They weren't Bobbies. Opposite to Ontario. Rory?
Irish Expeditionary Force.
They were the Black and Tans. They were known simply as the Black and Tans. And Irish nationalists held the GPO in Dublin from April 24th to 29th in the Easter Rising of 1916. What does GPO... Go ahead, William.
General Post Office.
That's what they held, the General Post Office. Exactly correct. And what leader continued to oppose... Go ahead, Andrew.
Lloyd George.
Not there. Opposed the status quo until 1929 and eventually saw Ireland to Republican status. Who was that? Anyone have a guess? Must tell you it was... All right, Vivek.
O'Flaherty.
Eamon de Valera is the name we were looking for. Open question now, 30 points on Shakespeare Goes to the Movies. So elements of both in your questions or answers here. I want you to tell me, first of all, which Verona citizen... Go ahead, Rory.
Romeo.
Which Verona citizen was portrayed by Claire Danes in 1996? Try that, Vivek.
Juliet.
Juliet, as opposed to Romeo. So just a little bit unlucky there on that question. What recent film had an English monarch cry? Go ahead, Andrew.
Richard III.
You've got it. He cried, a horse, my kingdom for his horse, except he cried it from his broken down Jeep in this updated version. And who was paid in excess of $10 million to portray Iago? Go ahead, Jane.
Kenneth Branagh.
Kenneth Branagh in the 1996 version of Othello. Points for that answer there. And we move to an open question on names in the news. 30 points available here on these 3 questions. According to Forbes magazine, what chairman of Microsoft... Try it, Andrew.
Gates.
Bill Gates, that's right. William Gates III, or just plain Bill Gates, the wealthiest individual on the planet as of July 1997. In August of 1997, Gates surprised onlookers by investing a paltry $150 million in what computer company? Try it, Man Yi.
Apple.
Apple Computer, that's right. Long considered a sworn enemy of Microsoft's. And the third question for 10, Microsoft's top-selling Microsoft Office product has been challenged by Perfect Office, produced by, try it, Vivek.
Corel.
Corel, that's the Canadian software company that makes it. Corel gets you 10 points. Well, let's see how you do with a what am I question. On this first clue, if you get it, you get 40. 30, 20, and 10 on the remaining clues. So let's try this what am I question. First of all, the 40-pointer. I am located at an altitude of 2,130 kilometers on the Papago Indian Reservation. Go ahead, Vivek.
Phoenix.
Not the answer. Anybody on the other team? Rory?
Machu Picchu.
No, I'll correct that. The question should have read 2,130 meters. That's the altitude, okay? Both teams, that will make a lot more sense to you. I don't think there are too many points at 2,130 kilometers. Let's try the second clue for 30. I was founded in 1960, and I am under contract with the U.S. National Science Foundation. Either team. Kevin?
Hubble telescope.
No, it's not. I'll offer to Ontario 1 for a try. Vivek?
The Very Large Array.
No, I'll have to go to the third clue. My principal instruments include the Mayall reflector and the Robert... Go ahead, Rory.
Los Alamos Observatory.
No, the Mayall reflector and the Robert McMath solar telescope. What am I? Offer it to Gloucester for a try. Okay, Vivek?
The Sagan Astronomy.
It's not. Last clue, 10 points. I am a famous astronomical observatory located near Tucson, Arizona. What am I, Vivek?
Temple Mountain Observatory.
Not Temple Mountain. Try it, Ontario 2. Andrew?
The one owned by U of T.
No, we're looking for the Kitt Peak National Observatory, so no points going to anyone there. Well, let's see how you do with an art question, and you'll have to get your art reproductions out. You're going to look at one art reproduction. And as I've learned from previous experience, I shouldn't read too much of the preamble. I might give away some of the answers here. I want you simply to examine the detail from the painting, and I'm going to give you some questions. So ready, if everybody's had a chance to look at it? First of all, these faces are a detail from an altar painting. The style suggests that it was painted in which, try it, Vivek?
16th century.
No, in what century? That is the question, but that's not the answer. Jane?
15th?
Yes, the 15th century or the 1400s. You've got 10 points on that one. What was the nationality? Go ahead, Jonathan.
French?
He wasn't. What was the nationality of the artist? Try it, Jane.
Italian?
Italian gets you another 10. And what artist painted the work? Try it, Vivek.
Raphael.
No, he's also known for his famous Birth of Venus. Jane?
Botticelli?
Alessandro Botticelli gets you another 10. Botticelli burned many of his paintings at the exhortation of what Florentine cleric? Andrew?
Medici?
No, offer it to Ontario 1. Anybody have a try? Vivek?
Machiavelli.
No, the answer is Savonarola. Savonarola was the cleric in question. You can put your art reproductions aside. We're going to do a 20-point special now, teams. And if you get this particular answer, then you get a quick 20 points for your teams. So I want you to tell me, the single answer, on the nights of November 9th and 10th of 1938, Nazi-led... Go ahead, Rory.
It's Kristallnacht.
Yes, I'll accept Kristallnacht or Night of the Broken Glass. You get 20 points for that answer. Absolutely correct on the 20-point special. And we move to an open question now. The elements is our topic. We've got 4 of them for 40 points altogether. I want you to tell me, first of all, the answer to this question. This element is the only transition series metal that has been found only as a result of artificial... Go ahead, Jonathan.
Technetium.
Technetium, that's right. That's the only one. Directly beneath silicon in column 4. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Germanium.
Germanium is correct. That's the element used in electronic chips. And the Swedish town of Ytterby has given its name... Try it, Jonathan.
Ytterbium or ytterbium?
Has given its name to 4 elements. Name all 4 of these elements. That's the question I have to get the answer for. I want 4 elements. Try it, Rory.
Ytterbium, erbium, terbium, and bium.
If you'd said yttrium, you would have had the 4th one, and you would have received your 10 points. So we were really close to an answer there, but not quite. Try this one. What 2 letters of the alphabet are not used? Go ahead, Kevin.
Q and U? No.
No, are not used in any of the elemental symbols, not counting those used for elements 104 to 113 before 1997. What 2 letters? Offer to Ontario 1 for a try. Anybody have a guess? I'm going to have to tell you. Okay, Jonathan?
Q and W.
Q and J are the 2 letters, so no points there. Q and J. Feudal Japan is the topic now. 40 points available here dealing with that topic. Let's try the first one. The Bushido was the chivalric... Go ahead, Vivek.
Samurai.
The samurai. That was their code of honor. Correct for 10. What title was held by... Go ahead, Jane.
Shogun?
Shogun is correct. The warlords who governed Japan from 12th century to 1868. And sharing its name with the Gilbert and Sullivan operetta. Go ahead, Jane.
The Mikado?
Mikado, you've got the next one for 10 points. And what city was the capital of... Go ahead, Rory.
Kyoto.
Kyoto. Before Tokyo became the capital. 10 points for the last one. We've got a great game going here, very close. Let's try an open question. Canadian University Current Affairs in 1997. First of all, what university granted an honorary doctorate to George Bush? Go ahead, Rory.
University of Toronto.
Yes, despite massive outcries and protests. University of Toronto, good for 10. What university was the scene of a student protest? Try it, Vivek.
UBC.
University of British Columbia, UBC, good for another 10. What tactic did students at the University of Toronto, McMaster, and York use to protest increasing... Go ahead, Vivek.
It stood in the lobby of the CIBC. In Toronto.
No. What did they use to protest increasing tuition fees early in 1997, Rory?
Walkouts.
No, they occupied the presidential office at the university that they were part of. And we have another scramble question, so ready on this 10-pointer. If you get it, you get the second parts. Ready on this question, first of all, to start, for 10 points. What planet has the highest amount of axial tilt from the plane? Try it, Magny.
Venus?
It's not. Axial tilt from the plane of the solar system. Try it, Rory.
Uranus.
Uranus or Uranus is correct. 10 points going to Ontario 2 on that. And you get the second parts with this very important scramble question. Try the following. What astronomer discovered Uranus and wanted to call it George's star after his patron monarch, George III?
First of all, low.
Try it, Jane.
Oh?
It was William Herschel that I had to have for that one. Name the one moon of Uranus that is not named after a Shakespearean character. Anybody on the Ontario 2 team? Okay, Rory?
Umbriel.
Umbriel, that is the answer that I have here, correct for 10. Hydrogen, helium, methane, ammonia, hydrogen sulfide, and what other substance are the major constituents of the Uranian atmosphere? Jane?
Carbon dioxide?
The answer is H2O, or water, on that question. We have short snappers to finish off this round in a really exciting game. Only, by the look of it, 10 points unofficially, separating the two teams now. I want you to tell me, 10 points, what country put Canadian territory under shell fire? And go ahead, Vivek.
Japan.
That's right, in World War II. What type of animal is a saluki? Try it, Jonathan.
It's a type of deer.
It's not. I'll offer to Ontario for a try. Ontario 2, Rory.
Fish.
No, it's a dog. A saluki is a breed of dog. One of the gurus of financial planning is David Chilton, who wrote what Canadian? Try it, Vivek.
The Wealthy Barber.
The Wealthy Barber, he did indeed. And from what musical is the song entitled To Dream the... Go ahead, Jonathan.
Jesus Christ Superstar.
No, To Dream the Impossible Dream, Jane.
Man of La Mancha.
Man of La Mancha, based on Don Quixote by Cervantes. And we have a really tight game here. It can't be any tighter. Scores tied at 270-270, and we'll have a very exciting round coming up right after this brief pause on the national final game of Reach for the Top. Well, we couldn't have written a better script for this final game. At this point in our game, after 2 rounds, the score's all knotted up at 270 for each of the 2 teams, the Ontario teams from Kingston and Gloucester. And they're going to try to change that eventuality with these questions, which are open. 3 parts, 30 points on classical music. First of all, 1997 celebrated the bicycle... Go ahead, Jane.
Schubert?
Celebrated the, I better read this for the other team, 1997 celebrated the bicentennial of which composer's birth and the centennial of which composer's death? That's a complete question. Offer to Magny.
Schubert and Brahms?
You've got both of them. Franz Schubert and Johannes Brahms. Donizetti was also born in that 1797, I believe, is the year. After withdrawing his 4th symphony the night before its debut in 1936 for fear of persecution because... Go ahead, Jonathan.
Shostakovich.
That's right, Shostakovich, because of fear of its avant-garde sound not being properly received by the public. And what composer of Also sprach... Go ahead, Vivek.
Wagner.
It wasn't. Also sprach Zarathustra once said, I know I am not a first-rate composer, but I am a first-rate, second-rate composer. Rory?
Strauss.
Richard Strauss. You've got 10 points on that one. Open question, mathematics, your pencil and paper if required. So I'll give people an opportunity to get those out. And this math question, I'm going to ask you some things that may not require pencil and paper, but your option is to use it if you want. First of all, I want you to tell me, what is the sine of 45... Go ahead, Andrew.
1 over root 2.
Yes, 1 over root 2 or square root of 2 over 2 would have also been an acceptable answer, but that is correct as given. Next, I want you to tell me, what is the cosine of 5... Go ahead, Andrew.
1.
What is the cosine of 5/6 pi? Goes to Ontario 1 here. Anybody have a guess? Okay, Magny.
Negative root 3 over 2.
You've got it exactly. Negative root 3 over 2 is the answer we needed. And finally, what is the tangent of 135 degrees? Try it, Andrew.
1.
It's not. I'll offer it to the other team. Try Jonathan.
Negative root 3.
It is -1 that we needed. We didn't have the negative sign coming from the first answer. Let's try a scramble question here. If you get this, you get the second parts for your team. Strategic scramble coming up. For 10 points, what member of the prominent Massey family chose to pursue a career... Try it, Vivek.
Vincent Massey.
It chose to pursue a career in theater rather than for the family business, Jane.
Raymond Massey.
10 points, Raymond Massey. Second parts go to Ontario 2. And each of the following questions deal with Raymond Massey. Massey had a part in the first British talking motion picture. What was the name of this movie?
No idea.
Anybody have a guess? Jane?
The jazz singer.
It was called High Treason. And what was the name of the character Massey played in the classic television series Dr. Kildare? Any guess on that? Must have an answer. We're looking for Andrew?
Perry Mason.
Dr. Gillespie. And finally, what was the name of Raymond Massey's brother who became Governor General of Canada? Jane?
Vincent Massey.
Vincent Massey, and that answer sounds awful familiar. We're going to try an open question, 30 points on Canadian topics here. I want you to identify the following national historic parks and sites located in Western Canada. That's your clue. First of all, for 10 points, what historic site encompasses the final battlefield of the Northwest Rebellion? Try it, Kevin.
Batoche?
Batoche of 1885, good for 10. Located in Maple Creek, Saskatchewan, what site features a reconstructed Northwest Mounted Police post of the 1870s? Either team try that. Go ahead, Vivek.
Fort Albert.
It's not. I'll offer it to the other team. Rory.
Fort Whoop-Up.
It's Fort Walsh we need on that. And what area in the Yukon features sites including, go ahead, Rory.
Klondike.
Klondike, Dawson, both acceptable answers there that we're looking for. We have a who am I question, 40, 30, 20, and 10. Very important at this point. If you get it on the first clue, it may make a major difference in this game. Not that I'm trying to make you nervous here, but try this first one for 40. I'm a famous explorer born in 1480 in Portugal. Try it, Vivek.
Magellan.
Ferdinand Magellan, 40 points, going to Ontario 1 for that answer.
I would kiss you if you weren't on TV.
And that makes our game very interesting indeed. We're going to try an open question now, 30 points, last year in sports. I want you to tell me, first of all, who won his 4th Cy Young Award? Try it, Jonathan.
Roger Clemens.
You just snuck it in there in 1997, Roger Clemens. What team successfully defended their Grey Cup? And go ahead, Jonathan.
Toronto Argonauts.
You've got another 10 on that. What ex-Oiler, ex-Ranger player? Try it, Jonathan.
Mark Messier.
That's right, was not named to the 1998 Canadian Olympic team. Open question, either or if you prefer. Name either of two composers born in 1813 who dominated 19th century opera. Magny?
Verdi.
Verdi's one, or Wagner is the other. So you've got 10 points there for Verdi. And name either of two plays by Shakespeare in which, go ahead, Jane.
Henry IV, Part 1.
And it's not, and we don't get to the Merchant of Venice or Julius Caesar because that bell indicates that we're going to the short snappers. And the short snappers will take us to the end of this 2-minute game, and what a game it's been. Let's try this for 10 points. What literary genre is Walpole's The Castle of Otranto? Try it, Rory.
Gothicism or Gothic.
Gothicism or Gothic, correct for 10. What actor plays Simon Templar in, go ahead, Jonathan.
Mel Brooks.
It's not in the movie The Saint. Try it, Rory.
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer gets you 10. What is the value of 14 to the exponent 0? Try it, Kevin.
1.
1 gets you another 10. Which famous scientist proposed that the sun is the center? Go ahead, Jonathan.
Copernicus.
You've got another 10 for that. Who reached the North Pole in April? Try it, Kevin.
Bird?
In April 1909. Offer it to Vivek.
Amundsen.
It was Admiral Robert Peary. What famous Scottish lake forms part of the... Go ahead, Vivek.
Loch Ness.
Loch Ness gets another 10. Charles the Bald was the king of what? Try it, Vivek.
France.
France gets you 10 on that one. What financial index was first compiled? Go ahead, Vivek.
TSE 300.
No, it was first compiled in 1884. Try it, Kevin.
Dow Jones?
You said the Dow Jones. You've got 10 points. The Ginza is the downtown area. Try it, Vivek.
Tokyo.
Tokyo gets you 10 on that one. In reference to New Scotland Yard, what does CID... Try it, Rory.
Criminal Investigations Division.
Not what we need. What does CID stand for? Go ahead, Vivek.
Criminal Investigation Department.
You've got 10 points on that answer. What is the second epoch of the tertiary period of... Try it, Jonathan.
Jurassic.
No, the tertiary period of geological time. Ontario 2. Do you have a guess? Rory.
Cretaceous.
No, it's called the Eocene. What building was stormed on July 14th? Go ahead, Andrew.
Bastille?
The Bastille gets you 10. Who wrote the book The Snow Walker? Kevin.
I'm sorry.
No, I'll offer it to the other team for a try. Vivek.
Farley Mowat.
You've got 10 for that answer. What saxophonist came to prominence in the Miles Davis... Go ahead, Vivek.
Bill Evans.
It wasn't. The Miles Davis Quintet. Ontario, give it a try. Going to have to tell you. It's John Coltrane. Who was the author of the Greek manifesto, The Republic? Man, you don't get the answer in there. The answer is Plato on that final question. And we have a fantastic game. Well, an excellent final game, ladies and gentlemen. As the players from Ontario won, the Gloucester team celebrate. We have to wait for the official final judges' score on this game in order to give the national championship to one team or the other. And we will be back after this brief pause with exactly that result. Well, it's official. The judge has determined that the score for this final game ends up being 440 points for Gloucester from the Ontario 1 entry and the Ontario 2 team from Kingston with 380, and that means Gloucester are the national champions of Reach for the Top. I've enjoyed this series of Reach for the Top immensely. It's been a great pleasure having all the contestants here in Halifax, and we hope you've enjoyed it as well. We look forward to another opportunity in future years to do this all over again, and we hope that next year's venue has as much fun as we did putting on Reach for the Top. For now, and for Hamilton Maguire, I'm Hans Budgie, wishing you so long from the National Championships, Sir James Dunn Building, Dalhousie, Halifax, Nova Scotia in 1998. Bye for now.